talk just a few minutes about our junior high team, our junior high season this year. Last year, our freshman team didn't finish where we thought we should finish, but our 7th and 8th grade, they won the 7th and 8th grade tournament. And really, we were probably the team that was expected to win the 9th grade tournament this year. A lot of people said, well, that puts a lot of pressure on your boys, so they're expected. You know, but I'd rather be in that situation than the other side. I'd rather be the team that is expected to win or the team that is expected to come in last place. So I talked with the boys back early in the season when we first started in November. We were talking about what we would expect them to do. And one of the things was I told them I expect them, and the people at Hart expect them to win the conference this year and win the tournament. It's just expected out of them. They were expected to be county champions. It's expected out of them. You know, and I said, if you finish short of any of those goals, then you'll be letting us all down because you've already been expected to do those things. And a lot of people said, well, that'd be putting extra pressure on them and things, but really it's not. I don't think so. If you set a goal that you expect your kids to sell, and they won't sell it for anything any less. And we've had some fine junior high teams over the years here. You know, we've had teams that in the past few years had some real fine players on it. But these boys worked real hard last year, and they worked hard this year, and they accomplished what they set out early in the season to do. We talked about the players that we had back in the 7th and 8th grade team last year. Now, we didn't have a lot of players. We had a couple of players that played a little bit on the 9th grade team last year, so we really didn't have a lot of players as far as experience-wise on 9th grade. So we did have some players. We had 4 players that played 7th and 8th grade year both, so they had 2 years' experience. We had, I think it was 3 8th graders that had played the year before, which would be in 7th graders. We had 3 of them as 8th graders and they played on the 7th. So we didn't have a whole lot of experience. That was one of the things I felt we were weak at as far as bench and probably players that have experienced time. But being 7th and 8th grade champions last year and stuff, and the experience that they got from that really paid off and did. Some of the players that made all-conference and things this year was, I'll mention those people. We had Jim Brumfield and Bert Trippin and Paul Toppings were named on the all-conference team. Our all-tournament team was Ashley Dalton, Paul Toppings, and Jim Brumfield. These boys this season finished 18-1, and it's probably not the best record of any junior high. We've had a couple of teams to go undefeated, but this 18-1 is nothing for them to be ashamed of. We had our bad luck this season. I told the boys early in the year if we got over, we didn't have any injuries, and everybody stayed healthy, that we could probably possibly go undefeated. That's how much confidence I had in it. But things didn't work out that way. We had more than our share of injuries. We had people out with stress fractures. We had people out with pneumonia. We had people out with some of the other things we had. Burn hands. We had Barry to get burned in the bar real bad. The crucial part of the season, because that's when Ashley was out. It left us really without a point guard, and we had a lot of problems with that. And then we had a couple of boys with pneumonia, and that really, I was worried about that at times, because we had some tough teams on our schedule that we had to play, and it bothered us a lot when we were going in. But those inexperienced players that we did have that hadn't played a lot come through for us. That's a lot of times wins a lot of your ball games for you. They did for us this year. Our starters were out. We had starters out. We had to play shorthanded. We had to play people who never played junior high ball before. We had to play this year. This was their first year ever. They had to go out there and pick up for our starters and all that experience that we didn't have out there. But I think that basically made us a better team. When we got those people back, everybody was wondering how we were blowing people out down the end of the season. We went into our tournaments and nobody even got close to us. One of the coaches, our first game of the tournament, said, they're not going to get close. I don't understand why you're all playing so good now for. We played this close the first time we played you, the second time. But what they didn't realize when they played us, we didn't have everybody. We were probably 2 or 3 people short. And what happened, our bench people were starting and getting a lot of game time and everything, and that made them better players. So that made us a lot stronger team and a lot better team. Our 7th and 8th grade, we had 2 players who made all-tournament. Was Jerry Bryant and P.J. Bell. They were named on the all-tournament team. A lot of people's already said, well, you lost a lot of your players, you won't have much next year. But these boys got beat by the team that won the 7th, 8th grade tournament. Madison won the 7th, 8th grade tournament. Our 7th, 8th grade got beat only 3 points in the 7th, 8th grade tournament. Now the thing about a lot of people don't realize, Barry Hensley, Jerry Burton, Amigo Carver, they didn't play on our 7th, 8th grade team. You know, they played on our 9th grade team. If we can beat the team or play with the team within 3 points of the team with all their 7th, 8th graders, and we're going to have all those boys back next year, plus our 7th graders that we got back that got a lot of playing time this year. If we have those players back, there's no reason we can't expect a lot out of next year's team either. So I'm looking for good things in for next year's team. Not just simply because we lost. We did lose a lot of good players. You lose good players every year. No, Harry's going to lose good players this year. Next year you lose some other players. You lose players. That's one thing you expect if another season rolls around. But I honestly think that next year's team has a chance of being right back again, win the conference again next year, just the way they played and the experience they got this year. And the players that we had on the 9th grade team, they got a lot of 9th grade experience playing on the 9th grade team. They'll be back next year playing on the 9th grade team again. So I look for real big things for them next year also. Now, before I sit down, I want to talk a little bit about a player that played here probably in 81 through 84. He probably played on one of the undefeated seasons. I think he's 20-0 was one of the teams that he played on. He became real close to me over the years because he was raised and stuff close to me. And we become real good friends even after he left school here. He played for me for 3 years. He played in the 7th, 8th, 9th grade years. I couldn't think of another player that we've ever had to play here that is more deserving of an award at the junior high level. We have never given a junior high award here as far as a memorial award or dedicating a season to someone. It's the first ever as I know of. And I can't think of a player of all the 10 years that I've coached is more deserving this week. He is not the best basketball player that we've ever had to play here. This next person I'm going to talk about. He's definitely not the best. We've had several players that's been better basketball players. We have never had a basketball player here to work and to hustle any harder than this fellow ever did back when he played. And this player was Raymond Black. He played on the 81 to 84 season. He was a real good friend of mine. We became friends even when he left school here. And we were close even when he played. Matter of fact, he used to ride home with me and stuff after games and everything. And I honestly miss him a lot. And I talked to Mr. Lucas at the beginning of the season, and I told him that, you know, he was killed last year in a car accident. And I couldn't think of any person any deserving an award that we could start one for him, and we're going to give it this year. We dedicate our season. That's one of the things our players we talked to earlier, that we would dedicate a season, and it would be in his honor. And we have that award now. We're going to let his sister, Shawnetta Black, receive this award for him tonight. Shawn. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and call off our 9th grade players that played on this year's team. We'll start off with Jim Brumfield. Ashley Dalton. Chris Harless. Lonnie Lucas. Darren Mans. Paul Toppy. Bert Triplett. tonight, and juniors is in here tonight. Take warning, you fellas better watch out, because these boys come to play. So let me give you some good advice right now. If you come back here next year and loaf around, you may see sophomores taking your place. So just keep that in mind. I'm sure these boys are going to be shooting for your position too. They're used to winning. They're used to working hard and playing hard to win. So all I can tell you fellas is out working. Okay? Okay, next group is our 8th graders. And if you want to, I'll introduce all the 8th graders. And when I finish up, you can give them all a hand. That way you want it to be wearing your hands out tonight. First one is T.J. Bell. Next one is Jory Bryant. Boys, come on up. I'm trying to speed it up a little bit so we won't run out of time here. Mark Carter, better known as Amigo. Darrell Harless. Barry Henson. Wayne Keiser. Jeremy Thompson. And Mitchell Banks. Okay, now we give those 8 players. Those players I just talked about are the players that'll be back. Oh, Michael Brown, he's 7th grade. Jerry Burke. Come here, Jerry. Out. Too many Jerrys on his sleeve. Here I got a Jerry Bryant and a Jerry Burton wrote together. When I called off Jerry Bryant, I was come on down to next year and went to Mark Carter. See, too many Jerrys. Now we got him. There we go. Now let's give him off. And we don't forget Jerry. See, Jerry's played a lot of this year on our 9th grade team and stuff, so he'll be back next year with me. Him and Barry both played some 9th grade ball, so we'll be expecting to see both of them back. Now our 7th graders is Michael Browning, Ed Carver, Jason Hughes, Chip Banks, Melvin Williams, Paul Wilder. I didn't get them all in. All right, that's all the 7th graders. Other ones will be back next year. Okay, now we got our 2 managers, or 3 managers we had. I don't know if Mike Johnson, I don't think he's here. And the other one's Brad Mans. Tommy Aggie. Now, before I sit down, I'll be turned over to Miss Vance. She's going to talk maybe or give her awards out. Before I sit down, I got a couple of little things I want to talk about. I don't know, it's probably 5 years ago, Larry, I was up here when I was getting ready to retire from basketball and stuff. I think it's 5 years ago. And I like to boast about what I said back 5 years ago when I was standing up here. Harry, you mentioned it last year, I think, for the sports ankle. 5 years ago, I stood probably close to the same area, and I had these senior boys that's playing now for Harry. I made a statement that I thought this group of 7th graders was the most talented group of 7th graders to ever be at Harts High School. I said that we probably had better individual players to play here at Harts High School, but I said we've never had as many talented players in this 7th grade class. Well, now they're all seniors, and I can say the same thing today. It's the most talented group of seniors that we've ever had who graduated from Harts High School, and I'd like to give them a good hand too. Now, see, I can stand up here and boast about that. Now, if you'd have went over, if you went and lost in your section or lost in your region and stuff, I probably wouldn't even mentioned that. I probably kept that to myself. But means you went ahead and done what my expectations. That's what we were talking about, expectations of people. See, I stuck my foot back in my mouth when you all were back 7th graders bragging on you back then, telling you that I thought you were the most talented group that's ever been here. And I still think so today as seniors, you're probably the most talented. I'll still say that we've probably had better individual players, but we've never had that many talented players in one class before. And you've lived up to it, I think, and you've proven it by going to the state tournaments and winning the thing. So I would like now to turn it over to Gail, but before I do, I would like for our varsity basketball team to stand up and our junior high team to stand up. A lot of times we have problems. I know my biggest problem is coaching. You boys can go ahead and stand up now. My biggest problem a lot of time in coaching is I do not compliment people enough. That is my biggest problem. I have a lot of problems. But my biggest problem is I have trouble. Even players that play for me, I do not a lot of times compliment them on the good job that they do. They probably mostly hear from me, what they hear from me a lot of times is not compliments. Because I'm always looking for things that they're doing wrong, and that's not the way it should be done. You should compliment them. I try to do that a lot. A lot of times I forget. I would always have high expectations of them to do their best, and a lot of times I find sometimes that they're not doing those things, and I'll bring it out more so when they are really working hard. And before I sit down, I would like for us all to give these men a good hand. Thanks.
Well, it's a well-known fact that Tracy's a better speaker than about anybody else here. Anyway, but it may be Harry. But I'm real proud to have been associated with this junior high team this year. We had a lot of fun, didn't we, boys? And I'm real proud of our cheerleaders. They worked hard, and if anybody saw them, they know they were excellent. We were real proud of them. They competed at Madison, and they won 2nd place, and they lost by 1 point, and the other squad had 15 cheerleaders, so, they had an advantage over us. But they're still the best. Tatum Dingus, she won a tournament cheerleader over there. And I have some little awards here for them from the person who really did all the hard work. That's Jackie. Jackie Dingus did a lot of work for these girls, and we appreciate you, Jackie. First one I want to call out. The first one I'd like to call out is Tatum Dingus. We also have a certificate for Tatum for best attitude. Next, Don Adams. Don got the certificate for most dedicated. Alicia Farrell. Alicia got the certificate for most cooperative. Most cooperative. Talitha Mitchell, the sweetest, kindest child I know. Talitha, you got the biggest heart. Holly Eldridge. Holly won our award for team leader. Melissa Brumfield. Is Melissa not here tonight? Melissa won the award for most improved. Also, Amy Ferris is not here. She won the certificate for best gymnast. Crystal Compton. Now, there were times when most people would have gotten mad and quit. One day, Jackie spent about an hour with Crystal trying to get her to start running on the right foot. But, now when I read the certificate for this, turn around, Crystal. The always smiling face. She always smiled. Thank you.
Well, Tracy talked about something tonight that I'm very guilty of. I do not give many compliments to my cheerleaders, and I'm sure at times they think that I have been the most hateful, unreasonable, insensitive, unkind woman. And I am at times, it's true. One thing that always bothers me that I don't think people in the public, like Harry complains about community support sometimes, they don't realize when you dedicate yourself to cheerleading or basketball or any athletic event, it's not really just for fun. It becomes a job. Doesn't it, Harry? I mean, it's a job. Those kids, they have to be there at practice. When it's time for camp, they've got to be there. And a lot of times, they have to dedicate themselves in ways that the community doesn't realize. But I've got to say tonight to the cheerleaders that you have been the hardest working, devoted bunch of girls that I have worked with. Because for one thing, we had to do a little extra this year. You have no idea how many hours we devoted to get ready to go down to St. Joe's. And I knew that no matter how hard we worked, we were going to be in competition with teams that were going to be better. But I am very proud of them for working so hard and for sticking it out, because I know there were days that we were all so tired and frustrated and wanting to do our best. But you get tired, and I'm proud of them, and thank you, girls. It seems a long time ago that it was August, and we went off to cheerleading camp. And we had a very successful season at camp, just starting with camp. And I was so impressed when I met the girls that day at Cedar Lake. They were very ready. They had worked hard over the summer. So their season started even sooner than mine. Now I'm going to introduce my cheerleaders. I'll call them up one at a time and ask them to receive their trophy, and then hold your applause, please. I had 2 seniors on my squad. The first of these is Kim Adams. And Kim showed me a lot of dedication in the last 2 years, and I thank you. And I had another senior who took a year off. She was a cheerleader when she was a sophomore, and she took a year off, and that is Sabrina Clevenger. Sonia Stout had to step into the role of the captain after the season had started, and I couldn't have done it without her. She's been my right hand. Chrissy Lowe. Jennifer Mitchell. J.C. Gillen. And Missy Brumfield. Several years ago, an award was instituted for Patty McCann, and to me that award goes to the girl who showed dedication and team spirit and hard work and devotion. And this year that award goes to my captain, Sonia Stout.
Evening, everybody. Well, it's not my turn. After 14 years and probably the same old thing, my time's been cut in half. And I thought I'd do this a favor. And I want to introduce our guest speaker tonight. And he's down here really for two purposes. And the first one is to give our talk tonight, and I told him a minute ago that we're very informal here. Whatever he wants to talk on tonight is fine. We'll give him a good ear. And then at the conclusion of the banquet, he's going to sign Jason up to play basketball at Concord College. So he's here for two reasons. Really, he's here for Jason, so I said, well, now let's wheel and deal a little bit. Let's do something else while we're here. Our speaker is Coach Steve Cox down at Concord. He's been an assistant down there for 11 years. He was an assistant coach down there. Was you there when Scott was there? You come in about the same time. Okay, I forget how old Scotty is all the time. And this past year, he moved up to the head coaching position at Concord. And if he wants to tell you a little something else about him, we'll let him do that. But really, other than he's a fine guy to talk to him, I've talked to him for 11 years on and off, I really don't know a whole lot about him. So if he wants to tell you anything else, we'll let him do it. Coach Cox?
Thank you very much. The first thing I might say is I was late, as you probably noticed, and I had an appointment. I had to be at Mann High School and then come on over here, and I think I got behind every coal truck between Mann and Logan, and I got up my nerve and passed a couple of them, and then I had to stop and pray a while trying to get over that because I very nearly killed myself. So I am just glad to be here, let me tell you. As far as telling you a little bit about myself, it's not really a very exciting story. I'm a person that was an elementary school teacher. I got to working with Coach Don Christie at Salem in his basketball camps, and I attended school there and always had great respect for him. And when he came down to Concord, I came down the next year and have been with him now, I guess, for 11 years. He's our athletic director. And he has been a great influence on me. I came the same year that Scott Fry did, and I commented, he's aged a lot more than I have, I know. Not really. You see, I used to have a full head of hair, and it's going the other way. I know some people, the people that I've met at Harts have been just super to me. And we've had boys come to basketball camp from down here, and they always give such a great effort and always play up to their capabilities, and we've always had a lot of admiration for the Harts program. And anytime, you know, in coming down and meeting people for the first time, you're always concerned that you want to make a good impression and with people that you've never been around before. And I had an experience just a couple of years at Concord after Scott left. We got a new president at the school, and college presidents, if you've ever had any dealings with college presidents, they're the guys that hire and fire at the colleges. They run the colleges, and a lot of them are kind of like, they think they're presidents of countries, really, and they get really full of themselves. And so we had a new guy coming in, and I didn't know what he was going to be like. So I wanted to make a good impression, because I knew one of these days Coach Christie was probably going to move up, and I hoped to be considered for the basketball job. So I told my wife, I said, let's invite him over to the house for dinner. We'll have him over, and I'll get to talk to him, and you know, we'll get off to a good start. Well, I have 3 little girls, and the oldest one's not too much trouble to take care of, but the middle one, I don't know if y'all ever had an experience like this, but she's about half out of hand, you know, and you never really know just what she's liable to do. So we got her down, we coached her good, you know, and talked to her and everything, told her the way she's supposed to act and all that kind of stuff, and there's an important man coming, and it was important to us that she be good to him. So we kind of were on pins and needles, you know. Her name's Jill, and so we went through the meal, got through that all right, everything went okay, and we were in the living room, sit down and talk a little bit, and then at the same time, my wife and I both, we looked around, we missed her, just about the same time, you know, and we're looking, trying to see where she's at, and I said, oh, Lord, you know, it's just hard to tell, you know, what she might be doing. And about the time we came to look for her, we're getting ready to go look for her, I looked up and she appeared right in the doorway. And she was, you know, we had such a pretty dress on her, you'd have to see her, it had little pigtails and everything, and she was soaking wet from the waist down, just drenched, I mean dripping. So we're sitting there and we're looking, what in the world has she done? And she just walked up in the living room, and she pointed her finger up at me, and then she pointed at the president. And she said, either you or you left the lid up and I fell in. So whatever you do, don't depend on your kids to make a good impression for you. And I waited a long time and thought maybe that president would leave, but he didn't. He never did. He didn't hold against me. He had some kids of his own, turned out. He wasn't that bad a fellow. So really, I found out that the best way to make a good impression is just to be yourself. I would like to say just a couple things about the experiences I've had in college basketball and in dealing with coaches. We're going through a period in this country now where you hear lots of negative publicity all the time about athletics. It seems like every time you turn around, there's this place getting put on probation, or that place is involved in some kind of a scandal of some sort. And it seems like our media really seems to dwell on negative things. And I think what happens is everyone becomes so preoccupied with the negative that we overlook the positive, the many positive things that people can gain from athletics. And I know in my own life what a enriching experience it has been. The friends that I've made, the people I would have never got to meet had it not been for athletics. And I always use an example like people that go to that state tournament in Charleston. I had never heard of Harts Creek. The section of West Virginia I was from was in Harrison County near Clarksburg, and I lived on a little secondary road there, which was real secondary, which meant it was dirt, most of it, to tell you the truth. And I had never, you know, heard of Harts, West Virginia, or places like North Fork and schools like that until I went to the state high school tournament and would see their teams come and play. And maybe it's good or maybe it's bad, but you form opinions of people when you watch a team from that area play. And that puts some extra pressure on you maybe there, Coach, but that is the truth. And I always hear the comments, and I heard it again last year from coaches and basketball people and people in general, that the team from Harts hustled more, got more out of their ability, and played to their potential more than any other team in the state tournament, and this is over a period of years. So these guys that have won this championship for you this year not only have done themselves proud, but they've represented your community well, and they sent sending out a good message throughout the state of West Virginia through their play, and I think they should be commended for that. I might also mention that in dealing with coaches, in this business, coaches, we're the worst gossips in the world. We get on the phone, we talk, you know, and in this recruiting business in particular, there's just no way that a college coach can get out and see everybody play. I mean, it's just impossible. We're about all in divorce court, my coaches and I, for all the nights that we're going as it is to go see ball games, and still there'll be kids out there that you miss or you didn't get to see. And so it's important to us that we have contacts among the high school coaches that we can call and people that you can trust to give you their best opinion of what a player is like. And I've always enjoyed talking with Coach Kirk. I value his opinion very highly, and he's always an enjoyable experience for me to call him and ask him about players. And something I feel like when we talk about athletics in general now, and the coaching profession has probably caused a lot of this negative publicity that we're getting nationally, because in my experience, the coach used to be a teacher. He was a person that taught kids and helped mold kids and shape them and worried about their character development and tried to help them in life. And when I grew up, a lot of the coaches that I really respected were gentlemen that would go to a high school and maybe stay 20 years, 30 years, and kind of stamp their stamp on a whole generation of young people, coach their fathers and the sons and right on down the line. That's almost a thing of the past. It's something you see very rarely these days. And coaching jobs seem like are turned over every 2 or 3 years. And there are lots of people in coaching that I think are really in it for reasons other than for the kids, to be honest with you. But I think that you folks are really fortunate here in that you've got some people working for you that I think are from the old school. And what's so nice about it is that you can see not only are they helping improve young men, but they're also successful in winning basketball games, and I think that's something they should be commended for. Whenever we go to recruit a basketball player, obviously there's a certain amount of athletic ability that they have to have. When you move up to the college level, it is just amazing what kind of athletes these kids are. And everybody these days used to, I was really excited if I could see somebody dunk a ball. Well, everybody's got guys dunking balls right and left all over the place now. The kids are really more athletic than they've ever been. So you have to have a certain amount of athletic ability when you're evaluating a player. But then something we've always tried to do at Concord is we try to find out something about them as a person. And if an individual is the kind of guy that his teammates like and his coaches like and the teachers and the principal at the school, what I always have found is that how you treat people that can't do anything to you certainly is a measure of what kind of character you have. What do the cooks at the school think about you? What does the janitor at the school think about you? What do the people that you come in contact with every day that really, if you were snotty to them, couldn't do anything to you, how do you treat them? And in my mind, if a young man treats people like that with respect, like they deserve to be treated, then that's the kind of person that we'd like to have in our program. We had a young man in 1979 that played for us and graduated, I believe, in 82. He was the all-time leading rebounder in the history of Concord College. He helped us win a conference tournament championship in 1979. I believe he won the Heart and Hustle Award either that year or in 82. I can't recall. We were the runner-up team in 1982 and lost to a West Virginia Tech team that had an NBA player on it in Sedale 3. But this young man, in the years that we worked with him at Concord, exemplified all those traits, and it's just a great deal of pleasure that we have today in seeing that he's out and being successful, as successful as a teacher as he has as a coach, and that is Scott Fry, and I'd just like to recognize him. I might tell one story on Scott. I promised I'd take it easy on him, but I can tell you several if you got time. But I'll just tell one. We had two other assistant coaches I have that work with me at Concord are two great gentlemen. A young man named Randy Jennings, who, by the way, I think played for Montcalm against Hearts when Scott was a senior, and Hearts defeated them in the state championship game. Randy came on and played 4 years at Concord with Scott and was one of our all-time great players too, and we're real pleased to have him on our staff. And we have another gentleman named Will Johnson, who I honestly think is probably not only the best basketball player that we've ever had, but probably, I think Scott will testify this, the best person, I think, that a person you could ever be around. And he's a big guy, and his first appearance, you think, boy, this is a mean rascal here. He's about 6'4" and a half, and at that time he weighed probably, what's got 260, 255. He's trimmed down some now, he's about 235, but he's an imposing physical specimen. But he's the kind of guy that once you get to know him, his personality is just totally the opposite of that. He's just a real joy to be around. We were playing Fairmont State. Fairmont was a powerhouse in those days, and it was really important for us to beat them. And we had a game at our place, and I always said, Scott's the kind of guy that, if we got on him and he felt like he was in the wrong, then he expected you to get on him. But if he felt like he was in the right, he didn't want to be misaccused of anything. We were playing Fairmont State, and it came down to a last-second shot. Will Johnson took the shot for us, and that particular game, he won many other games for us, but that particular game he missed the shot. So we went down in the locker room, and everybody was really down. And Will was really, really down because he was our leader, and he was the guy we depended on. So Coach Christie came in the locker room, and we looked like Will was about to cry. And he said, now, guys, I don't want to hear any of this crying and slobbering around. He said, we're not going to have it. He said, everybody in that game at some time or another missed a shot. And if they had made their shot, then Will's shot would not have been so important. And if Will had not made all the other shots that he made, we wouldn't have been close enough for 1 point to make a difference. And he said, I don't want to hear any of this kind of stuff. He said, put your head in the air and we go out, and we'll see these people again down the road. So we all said, okay, and we got up and get ready to leave. And we got ready to leave, Scott called me over. He said, now, Coach, he said, I didn't want to say anything while Coach was talking, but he said, I didn't miss any shots. And he was right. I looked up the stat sheet. He was 2 for 2 that night. And he had a bunch of rebounds. So we told him yesterday, Scott, we misaccused you there. You're right. You were 2 for 2. But he was a guy that we really enjoyed and did a great job for us. And, of course, the longer a person's going, then the more stories you tell about them, the greater legend they get to be. We do the same thing with Will and Randy, too. But something that I have really enjoyed in this coaching is seeing kids like that go out and be successful in life. And something that I'd like to knock on wood here, but in the 11 years that I've been at Concord, and this is due to Coach Christie really more than me, but every person that's played 4 years for us, played his senior year, has got a college degree today. And that's something we're as proud of as any of the victories that we have achieved. I guess I'd just like to, leave you with one last thought here. I think you have some great interest in basketball at Hearts. This is a super crowd, and it's just fun for me to come to these games and watch the enthusiasm that you have and the kind of support you have from your team. We've got a generation that we're raising today in many areas. It's almost like people are too cool to play basketball, or they're too cool to cheer and get excited at the game. There's so many other things to do, and I'll go to high school games at communities like Princeton, which has a gym probably will seat 3,000 people, and they'll draw, if they're lucky, maybe 600 or 700 now. And you just don't have the interest in sports, I think, and in basketball in particular in many of these areas that you used to have. And it is really refreshing to me to come and see a group of young men out representing their community, fighting and giving it all they've got, and then see the kind of support that they get from their parents and the community. I think that's something that's unique. Oftentimes in the Class A schools, I went to a Class A school, and I enjoyed that experience, and I've watched them slowly be consolidated and eaten up by these larger schools. And very few times in my mind are the positive things gained from consolidation worth what you get when you lose the close-knit feeling you have in the smaller schools. You have something unique here, and I hope that they never take it away from you. And I hope that as long as there is a Harts Creek, that we'll still be coming back looking for basketball players of this area. Thank you very much.
Coach Cox, on behalf of myself and coaching staff, junior high coach, all of us, we appreciate your kind words. Thank you very much. I want to get right into my awards tonight, and first thing I want to do is just call all my sophomores up, please. All you guys sophomores, come on up. All right, I should have, if they're all here tonight, I should have John Keyser. Please step up here, John, so everybody can see. I don't know if everybody knows you or not. Thomas Thompson should be next. Stuart Thompson, Sean Watts, Pete Fry, Danny Browning, D.B. Lambert, and Guy Compton. Did I miss anybody? All right. One of the things I want to reinforce is what Tracy said. You guys better come to play next year because these freshmen will be looking for your job. I would like to say this, that these guys on our JV team this year, we played all sophomores. They went 14-2. They had a very good season. We got your trophies here for Ward, and I have some plaques where I didn't get all of our state tournament plaques. I had some made. They just gave me so many. SSAC doesn't have any money, you know, they've got thousands of dollars. And so I had some made up as close to the originals as I could, and I wanted to give them to you guys that were with us all year long. Just come around this way here. Can you reach it to them out there? No, reach it to them right now. Right. Give these young men a round of applause. Our next group, we go all the way to seniors. We didn't have any juniors on our team this year. We had one young man that played about half the year with us, and he transferred at the semester to Guyan Valley. Chris Dalton said he always wanted to play football, and he went down there so he could play football his senior year. We miss Chris. And we really did. So I'll call my seniors up, please. Our seniors this year, y'all been watching them play for 3 years now. Jason 4. These young men has been our varsity team now for 2 years. They played last year. We had no seniors. They won 15 ball games, made it to the regional finals, and they come back this year, and they come back with a goal in hand. They always said from the time they come here that they were going to win a state championship before they left, and they did. And I'd like to. Once again, I remember what Tracy said when they were here in the 7th grade. He said it's the most talented bunch as a whole, so many of them that we've ever had. And I'm like Tracy, I agree with that. So let's give these guys a round of applause. All right, this next awards that we're giving away are individual awards. We keep statistics, you know, from game to game, and we compile these things. And some coaches don't like to mess with statistics. I do. I think they tell us a whole lot about our team. They tell us our weak areas. They tell us our strong points. We pick, for our sports banquet, we pick certain parts of our statistics to give award away for. You know, a lot of people say, well, why do you pick this, why do you pick that? You know, we never give one away for leading scorer. You know, anybody could be the leading scorer if he shot enough. We try to pick out those things that we think will make the team better. You know, there's so many different ones that we can look at that's fine and dandy, but we always have specifics that we feel like that if kids will work on their own and do a little bit of hard work, those will make the team better. The first two, I want to bring them up together, is because you can ask any coach on any level, and if he'll take these statistics or the book after the game, he can always look and say, well, right here, we got out-rebounded by 10, or if we would have just made a few more foul shots right here, we'd been in good shape. Those two statistics right there is something that coaches really harp on. So what I want to do is I want to bring, at this time, I want to bring Vincent Wiley and Dave Farmer up, please. Vinny is our leading rebounder on the year, and I tell you, we had all these kids are about the same size, and they all were very close in a lot of these statistics that we give these awards for. Vinny had 197 rebounds on the year, and for about a 7.5 per game average. And one of the things that we really wanted to concentrate on this year here was our rebounding. You know, where it wasn't very big, and I got my stats out yesterday, and according to our final stats, we had about a +7 margin after through 27 ball games against our opponents. We averaged 7 more rebounds per game, and believe me, we played nobody that was smaller than us. So Vinny did a good job, and he wins our rebounding award this year. I've been coaching here, this is my 14th year, and every year we work on foul shooting, and I always say, now guys, you know, I want everybody to shoot 70%. If we can shoot 70% as a team, we're going to be in good shape. So many ball games are won at the foul line. Well, you know, after 13 years, I said, well, I'll keep going. Maybe one of these times before I quit or before I die, one of my teams will shoot 70%, you know. So I got to looking after we got back from the state tournaments, and believe me, we finally had one. This year's team, as a team, shot 71%, and that's great for high school. I would imagine that Coach Cox would probably like to have those figures every year. That's a high figure for any level, 71% as a team. They were all bunched together, as these kids have been bunched together in a lot of categories from the time they've been here. We had an early leader, and we kept up with them through the year, and the kids would concentrate on them because, you know, they know we give a trophy, and they work on it. You know, Lyle would lead a while, and Farmer would take the lead, and somebody else, and then Lyle again, and a flip-flop back and forth all year long. And right at the end, Farmer hit him a little hot streak in a row, and he got Lyle, I think, by 1.5 percentage points. And so he was our free throw leader. He was 66 for 85 on the year for 77.6%. So he's our free throw man. While I got Barkley up here, I'm going to keep him just a few minutes. We also give an award away every year for our assist leader. That guy that goes out on the floor, finds the open man, gives the ball up, rather than shoots all the time. We always want to stress that. To me, when I played, I was a point guard, and you know, a lot of kids might say this, or a lot of people hear this and probably don't believe it. But when I played, I got just as much good feeling within here if I made a good pass that led to a score as I did scoring myself. I really did. I enjoyed making that good pass. And I thought that probably Farmer exemplified that better in our Mullins game in the semifinals of state tournament than any game this year. We knew that was the team that we would want to have to beat to win a state championship. And they had the two big guys, and we probably handled them easier than we did the other two. But we spread the floor the second half, and we went into a little motion offense that we worked on for 2 or 3 years and never did use it, but we thought we'd spread the floor. And I thought Farmer did a great job. We tried to isolate Jason in the middle, and and most of Jason's passes that he got in that one particular game, the game that we really needed come from Dave Farmer. And so Dave is our assist leader. He had 83 on the year, and so we want to be sure and give him that tonight. All right, I'm going to let him sit down here. One more. I wanted to, I really don't get into this all tournament stuff and all that. I really don't get. As a matter of fact, for you people that went to any of our sectional tournament games over at Madison when we were in that sectional over there, they gave all kinds of awards away. Best cheering section, best. I think they're nice. But I, as a coach, I don't even like to mess with all tournament teams because everything in my mind is a team concept. There's not but one trophy, and that's the one that you win as a team. But you still have these things, and I felt like, along with everybody else from Harts Creek, that Dave should have made the all-tournament team in Charleston. Now, I'm going to go ahead and a step farther. I'm not going to be like one of our local sports writers and say that he probably should have been on our head of one of our other kids. I'm not saying that. I'm saying he should have been on it too. What I'm saying is we should have had it before. It's been done before, and I felt like we should have this year. The only reason that he never was probably because they were turned in halfway through the third quarter before we really got in a bind over there and let Worth County come back within one, and offensively putting the ball in the hole, Farmer come through. We had about 8, 9 points in a row for us, and we had some kids in foul trouble. And I think that if the ballots would have went in a little bit later on during the game, I'm sure that he would have made it. So I told Farmer, I said, we'll take care of you. So what I got for him tonight, I didn't get him an all-tournament trophy, but I got him a little trophy here that says MVP championship game. So I wanted to give him that while he's up here. The next award I want to give away tonight is our Academic Athlete Award. I know especially you mamas like this one, and I know that probably a little more so than Daddy, Mama's worried about their grades, and that kid that goes out and plays basketball for 4 months out of the year, and he's here of evenings till 5:30, and 2 or 3 nights a week he's out till 12 and 1 o'clock, and still try to maintain his grades. It's hard. I know it's hard, and we have some good kids academically that play basketball. Most of them are on the honor roll. I think one of our sports writers from the Lincoln Times here tonight made mention of that back in the winter about how our kids made the honor roll a lot. I tell the kids here always that they're here first for an education and basketball second, and so I'm very proud to give this award away, and I guess I'm doubly proud because my son's going to get it. Brandon, would you come up, please? You stay right there, man. Brandon will graduate this spring with a 4.021 grade point average. If he goes to summer school, which I think he's going to go, and or if I don't go broke, by Christmas he'll be a sophomore in college. Now, Christmas is not that far around the horn. He is taking 2 classes here now. It'll make him 9 hours. He's scheduled, I think, for 7 more hours this summer through a program through Marshall, and then when he starts this fall, he gets 1 semester and he's a sophomore. I know some of you mothers last year when I mentioned this, that you need to get your kids when they become juniors to start taking some college classes through Swivic, who comes down here. We have 2 or 3 different classes taught every semester. I think it's a good opportunity, and I want to mention that to these sophomores and these freshmen and these 8th graders, these 7th graders, and be thinking about it. I got out here and beat the bushes today, not today, but back in the fall, and not only did we get Brandon in some classes, but I got some of the other kids to take some classes. I got Jason and Dave Wiley and Lyle. They all taking a speech class, and for a bunch of old farm boys or country boys like us, there ain't nothing you'll ever take in college that's any harder on you than speech. And so they did that, and I'm proud of all of them. And before I let Brandon sit down, I got to mention this, or he'd get mad at me and not speak to me in a week. You know, about 3 years ago, they came out with the three-point go, and a lot of people didn't like it. You see it on every level. It's in the pros, college level. I love it. I just think it adds a lot of excitement to the game. It gives you a chance if you're down a little behind. Of course, a lot of people says, well, yeah, but what if you don't have a three-point man? Well, I had about 4 of them this year, so I love it. And last year, Brandon had 52 on the year, and that tied Darren Furl's record. The first year that came out, Darren had 52, and Brandon tied him. He come back this year here, and he had ended up with 72, and he picked him up about 7 or 8 when he was a freshman, or when he was a sophomore coming in for mop-up time. So he ended his career here with about 100, by my count, about 135 three-pointers. And I tell you, that's going to be hard to top. I'm really proud of him. You can sit down. Our next award is our six-man award. I've said, and I've always said from the time these kids has been together, you know, that 7, 8 kids start any time. It doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter to me. But the biggest thing about that is convincing kids of that when mommy and daddy is thinking otherwise. To me, that makes it hard. I never care as a coach about who starts, who doesn't start. All I worry about is what you do when you're in the game and what kind of a job you do when the game is over with. I don't care who starts. And to me, if kids don't think like me or believe in me, you know, it can be a problem. Because if kids aren't satisfied, they're not going to play with it, you know. And if I'm preaching one thing and mom and daddy's preaching something else, sometimes they don't go together. But I really and truthfully felt like this year here that point was across. I think it got across. I can think of Lyle in particular. Early in the season, we'd jumble the lineups around. Kid getting a little slump, somebody come on and practice. We'd change it around a little bit, you know. Well, I remember Lyle. I said, Lyle, buddy, you're ready to start. I said, I'm going to start. I said, you've just been playing so well off the bench. I'm going to go ahead and give you a start. I think you've earned a start. Lyle said, Coach, I don't want to start. I said, all right. He said, I like setting up when that game, but watch it a little bit, let me get settled down and come in off the bench. I said, all right, now we're going, you know. Now, I've got a kid or two. Most of my kids could accept that role, I think, this year. I had a kid or two that I don't think could. It bothers me that they never did accept that. But as a whole, I'm very proud of them for that. And as the year went along, Dave Wiley accepted that too. Dave was foul prone. We keep Dave out of the ball game for a while. We get him in, played hard, played good defense, kept him out of foul trouble this way. That way I had both of my point guards in the ball game at the same time. Our six-man award this year goes to Dave Wiley and Lyle Tommy. Next award that I want to give away is sportsmanship award wrote on. Wrote attitude. Whatever, you know, I don't have a good vocab. But I'll tell you what it means. You know, last year we had 17 juniors. We had 17 juniors. And, you know, I wish I'd have had enough money to buy those guys something that didn't come out this year. I had some guys that just didn't come out. You know, and I was wondering, what am I going to do with all these kids next year? What am I going to do with all of them seniors? I got these sophomores moving up. JV ball, these sophomores got played. What am I going to do with all of them? And you know, some of them decided not to come out. And you know, I told them all year long, guys, I thank you. I really do. And they said, well, we understand, Coach. You know, we worry about the, you know, this kind of gives you an idea of how kids feel about it. I said, we just worry about the team. We're probably better not being on the team. Team's going to be better just because what can we do with all of us? And I'm very proud of them. I'd like to have kept a couple more of them. We kept 9 seniors this year. And I had two young men. I was at practice every day. There was never any problem. They come in when we wanted to simulate what the other team was going to do or what they were going to be like. We'd use those two guys and a few of the sophomores. There's three of these guys that started or played a lot, got in a little bit of trouble this past winter, so I suspended them for a game. Those two seniors stepped right in. One of them started. The other come off the bench and did a good job. They played not a lot of ball this year, but when they played, they contributed. I remember Randall Watts told me, he said, Coach, you know, some of these boys said, what do you play for, Randall? You don't start, you don't get to play a lot, you're senior. Randall said, hey, I don't care. I've got a role to play, and I like what I'm doing. I enjoy it. And I tell you, there's no difference in these kids. I love that 9th, 10th, 15th man as good as I do my All-Stater. Our sportsmanship award this year goes to Bill Watson, Randall Watts. This next group of awards that we give away are kind of special and kind of sad too. The Memorial Awards, and we all know that Memorial Awards are awards that people have passed on. People have been part of the program and passed on. And Susan done gave her cheerleader Memorial Award away, Tricia Kirk McCann, my sister, and we've already given that one, and I have some that I want to give away. The first one is the Charles Bud Lambert Memorial Award. That represents our heart and hustle, that kid that comes out here and works hard, not just in the game, but practice every day. And the school here buys a plaque, and Bud's mother, Lois Burton, and stepfather, Paul, give a $50 savings bond for part of this award. Bud played on our first state championship team in '69, and I think me and Ronnie was talking about back in the winter, and people always think he hits that last second shot to win the state tournaments, but you just got to kind of think about it. It was in the semis. He hit a shot at the buzzer that put us into the championship, which we went ahead and won. I said, no, Ronnie, I thought that too. Bud was a great rebounder, very aggressive, about 6'2", 6'3", and he's my first cousin. I was raised in a house with three sisters, and Bud lived about 50 yards away from me, and he was like a brother to me, and we were just about 11 months in our age, and so, we were real close, and we give this award away, some of these awards away for the kids that played older. I use the things that Coach Garrett's, the man over here sitting beside him tonight, used, and the thing that he always said about Bud was he never had anybody to come to practice and put his tennis shoes and his practice stuff on, and mind you, somebody putting on a set of hard toes to go dig a ditch all day, and he went at it and worked very hard. And the winner of that award this year is, out of all of these kids that we've talked about tonight, he's the only player that has started every game the last 2 years, the only player. I've seen him take his shoes off before, and his toes be bleeding. He had to learn his shoes too little. I don't know. Having trouble with his toenails, ingrown, I don't know. But he never tell him. Never say nothing.